Hi, welcome to AllBrands After Hours with me, your host, Courtney Douthat. Welcome to the show where we hang out and craft together. Today we'll be doing some last minute Christmas gifts with our Brother ScanNCut. Let's do it. Alrighty, so for our first project, now this is something that I've done for my son's class. So of course, whenever your kid's in school and they're younger, you gotta send a little present for each one of the classmates. And this one was probably the biggest hit that I've ever had. So many parents contacted me telling me, wow, where did you get these made? I wanna do these for my other kids' class, or, they were so great. I'd love to do these for my nieces and nephews. So it's super simple. What you have to do is you get a pencil box or any kind of craft box that usually they put their supplies in, like their colors and scissors and stuff. I like these because what I actually do is put them in a stocking, and we'll even do the stocking on today's video. So let's take off the little, oh, look at that noise. But luckily, these are one of the stickers, if you get them from the Dollar Tree, these little pencil cases, the stickers come off super easy. So I love that. Alrighty, because what we're going to do is we're going to take the top of it and we're going to put each one of the students' names. Courtney, that's so many students. Well, yeah, if your kid, like my son John has 23 in his class. It took me a little while. It would take me a little while to do these. But my son Alex only has 10 kids in his class. So what we need to do is we're going to take some pressure sensitive vinyl. So this is the kind that has the paper backing. This is the kind that you would use to do like a wall decal or put on a Yeti cup or on anything like this that you put no heat to. The heat transfer vinyl, well, you put heat to that. So that would be like a shirt, or if you're doing it on an applique or anything like that, well, then you would use that. But for this, we want pressure sensitive vinyl. And I always say my favorite brands are Caesar, S-I-S-E-R, and Oracle 651 for pressure sensitive vinyl. Alrighty, so we're using our low tack mat and our black auto blade today. If you have the vinyl kit, I highly recommend it. If you do a lot of vinyl, then use that kit. Or use that blade. It's a light blue blade. It does it a little bit better in my opinion. But if you don't have that blade, you can use your black auto blade. So let's go ahead and let's make our design. All right, so let's wake our machine up. And what I want to do is I'm going to actually select OK. Here we go. Oh, do you want to go to memory? Cancel. There you go. So now we're in our home screen. What I want to do is I want to come actually to pattern, and I want to come to fonts. And I'm going to select a font that I think would look good on my pencil case. Oh, you know what? I like this one. And I'm actually going to do one for my son John's name because I might be adding this to a certain stocking. So I'm going to select J-O-H-N, and it does it all together. Now, if you're wanting to do it like, if you're wanting to do like initials and that's like a monogram style, well, that would be a different font set that you'd be able to do, or you'd have to bring them each in individually. But they do have monogramming letters that bring in individually that are really cute. Now, something I do want to point out is that if you select this button right here, it's either capitalized or lowercase. So that's how you switch into both of them. I like to do mine all capital for this, but you could select lowercase. And then, of course, any of the special icons or any of the numbers. And then, of course, they do have, a money sign, a period, slash, numbers and all that stuff. So I'm going to hit OK because I like this. I'm going to hit set. This is just asking you about spacing. And I'm actually going to select edit, and I'm going to object edit and resize because I want to make sure that it's the size that I need for my particular pencil case to fill in that area. So I know that my pencil case is, I'm going to say about a 3 by 7 is the area I have to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and up this. Now, if you notice, the ScanNCut wants to lower and raise that size, kind of like breathing, all together at once. Well, Courtney, if you want to go all the way to almost a 7, let's say, let's do a 6.5. If you want to do that, well, you had more height that you could have done. So what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to select my width where I want to, and then I'm going to hit this button right here that locks it. So now if I was to select my height, my width doesn't change, and vice versa. So you can do that. Now there are some built-in designs in the machine, I like this, that do not allow you to do that because it feels like it will distort it. So if you don't see that lit up where you can touch it, that's why. Alright, so we have our name right here. Now we are using pressure sensitive vinyl, so we do not need to flip the design like how you would do in heat transfer vinyl. So we're going to select OK. OK again, and we're to this screen. Now I'm actually going to get my mat ready because I want to scan in my material. Mostly just because I can. Alrighty, so I have my pencil case here. Now the thing I do want to say that if you had a name, John's just very short, but if you had a name that was like a lot longer, like if I did my full son Alexander's name, well that's a lot longer. So what I would do is I would have it be the same height as all the different names that I'm doing, and I would remember that height, but I would play with the width, and maybe the letters would have to be a lot closer, but it would uniformly be the same width, so then they do look similar. And they're kind of more uniform. So that's what I would do. All right, so we have our material here. I've just cut a piece of it out. And this is a great way to use up some scraps. Because, okay, well, if a child's name is Bob, well, that's 3 letters. Bob's not going to really fill in a lot of area. You could stretch Bob out, but I'd probably make it a little bit smaller for him. Sorry, Bob. But I would do that, and then that way you could use up some scraps too. All right, especially if you're doing something like 26, like one of my son's classes, well, that's going to take a little bit of vinyl there. Now, if you were doing a ton of names, you could also just list them all out on here. I'm just doing one, but you could list them all out on there or do it on canvas if you wanted to. And then that way you could cut them all out at once, and then that would be a lot easier and just weed them as you go. All right, so I'm just going to put this vinyl somewhere willy-nilly because, one, it's nice to use your mat equally and wear them out equally. But also, just because when I scan it in, I want to show you just it randomly, or it shows you where it is on your map. Alrighty, so here we go. Alrighty, so we're going to hit this icon right here and tell it start. And that's going to actually scan in our mat so we can see on screen what's on our mat. Again, if we're using up a lot of little pieces, this is really handy. But this will make sure that our word, our design, or whatever we're cutting out is perfectly going to fit on the material that we have on our mat. All right, so there she is. She's beautiful. Now, if you notice, it's very grayed out. That's because I usually like my scans to be grayed, but you can come to the wrench icon and tell it to do a little bit darker, and it will show you that. So it's up to you. If we click it, it does put a red box around it, and we can drag it onto our material, and we had way more than enough material for this. So let's hit OK, select, and cut. And again, we're using our black auto blade with this and our blue mat. Alrighty, now half cut is on because I did vinyl last, which is what we want for vinyl. Since vinyl is 2 parts, we're going to come to the wrench icon, scroll down 1. If it had been off, we would select this right here to turn it on. And I do want to put a little weeding box around it, which makes a little box around it. That way, if I was using a giant sheet of vinyl, I didn't waste any of it. Hit OK. And start. And she's off to the races. All right, and she's done. Man, that's fast. All right, we're gonna unload our mat, take her on off. Now the great thing is it perfectly cuts it out, and it did put the little box around it. So again, if it had been a big sheet of vinyl, then it wouldn't have wasted any of it, but I just used a little piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull, how cool is this? We're going to pull off the parts we do not want. We're only going to leave the parts we do want to put on our pencil case. So we're going to take out everything but his name. So everything that's around, we take out. I love pressure sensitive vinyl. It's so easy. Just one thing that I do recommend is whenever you are pulling it off, go ahead and wad it up in your hand and get it away from there, because you don't want a sticky part that you just took off accidentally touching it and then trying to take off one of the letters or one of your designs. Oh, can't forget this inner part. Boop. So good. I love this vinyl. It's so good. All right, so now we have his name, John. Well, Courtney, how do we get this to there? Do we take off each letter individually and put it on there? Absolutely not. So the great thing about pressure sensitive vinyl is that it has this paper backing to it. So that's what's holding all of this together. So what we're going to do is we're going to take what's called transfer tape. Now transfer tape is amazing. There are different brands, different kinds. I personally do like the Brother brand. They have little grids on there, and it works really well. So I'm going to actually just take a piece of this. And now the thing I always remind everyone is transfer is reusable. So whenever I'm done with this project, I'm going to put it back on this backing, and then I just put it in my drawer and I keep reusing them. Alrighty, so let's take it apart. Here we go. Alrighty, and we're going to lay it on our name. See if I put it right here, you guys can see a little better. So we're gonna lay it on our name like this. And then you could take your spatula tool, or if you have a scraper tool, I highly recommend that. I, of course, left mine at home. But you're gonna just go back and forth over that name, because what we're wanting to do is transfer that vinyl piece onto the transfer tape, so when we peel it off, it's gonna all come together and it's perfectly still spaced out and everything. So it's just, it saves you a bit of a headache when you're trying to put it on something. All right, there we go. And you're just going to peel off. If you need to give it a little head start, like peel it and then give it a little head start, you can. Doesn't hurt anything. But now, so when we're peeling it off of here, it's wanting to come along, with the transfer tape. There we go. I'll face it your way. There we go. And once you get a bit of it wanting to transfer over, like a bit of that letter, the rest of it kind of just goes along with it. So just slow and steady. There we go. All right, there it is. So now let's take the top of our pencil case and we're going to lay it down on there. Oop, I'm going to do this facing me, guys. I'm sorry. I'm at least going to find my center. And the nice thing about this transfer tape, I say it every time, is that it's see-through. So if you want to actually take your letters and like fold it in half, don't squeeze, but fold it in half, that way you can figure out where your middle is, then that's super helpful. Commit. All right, and we put it on there. All right, we laid it on there. So now, again with your spatula, or I usually do it with my fingers sometimes, to be honest with you. We're gonna go like this. So now we want that transfer, or that vinyl to not stick to the transfer tape. We want it to stick to our item. So now we're encouraging it to switch on over. There we go. All right, and we're gonna pull off the transfer tape, and our cute little design stays on the pencil case. So again, this is reusable, so we'll take the little backing for it and put it back on there. And then I'll just pop this in my drawer and I can keep reusing it over and over again. Now, if you notice any bubbles in your design, just take your spatula tool or your scraper tool and push those out. Alrighty, so now we have that. We're going to put it on here, slap it on. And now we can fill it full of crayons. How cute! I think every child in the class got one of these. Like, you can't buy that. I mean, technically, buy the pencil case. We just did it in a few seconds. It just took us a few minutes to do. And again, if we had done a whole sheet of the names, well, while it's cutting out, say we had to do it in 2 batches, while it was cutting out one, we could be weeding out the other, slapping them on with some transfer tape and calling it a good day. So, how amazing. I love it. Now, we're not done because we're done with this part. But we're not done because I'm going to actually put this over here and we're going to do the next part. Now, I usually like a classic stocking with nothing, but I waited till last minute and they didn't have any of those left. So I have this little puppy dog one here. Now, Courtney, he's adorable. What are you going to do to him? I'm going to put each child's name on this with heat transfer vinyl. So we're done with our pressure sensitive mat. We're going to be using a standard mat and again our black auto blade because we're going to be cutting out heat transfer vinyl, because what I want to do is take some heat transfer vinyl and maybe add their name. Usually I like to do it to the whole top part, but since this stocking, you know, has the little cap and everything for the puppy dog, I could always do it on the feet, or I could just do it on the back. That would be cute. I think I like to do it on the front. It's up to you. So let's create our design. Oh wait, we already did. Now you could just use the same name, so how we just brought in for John, but we do need to tweak it just a little bit to use heat transfer vinyl. Alrighty, so we're gonna hit OK. Go back, and I'm gonna edit, take his name, object edit, and I'm going to flip. Because heat transfer vinyl, you do have to cut backwards. So hit OK. Okay again, and then I'm gonna edit this because I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger, smaller, because I am gonna put it at the bottom of the stocking. So let's going to go to object edit, and I'm gonna shrink it down just a little. Shrink the whole thing down. All right, I think that would look good. We're gonna hit OK. Okay again. All right, so I have some glitter vinyl right here because I think glitter would be really cute. And again, I have 4 boys, so any chance that I could possibly use some glitter, I'm gonna use some glitter. So let's go ahead and we're gonna put our vinyl. Now you would think that this is your vinyl, right? The shiny, pretty side. It's not. this is your vinyl, the matte side, because this is actually glue that you're going to heat up on your with your iron or your heat press, and that's what's going to actually activate it to stick it to there. There's actually a clear part on the top of this vinyl that is keeping it all together, kind of like how we did our transfer tape, but heat transfer vinyl has it built in. I know, it's wonderful. So we're going to take our vinyl, we're going to put shiny side down, matte side up on our mat. You know, I'm just going to do it willy-nilly like I did the other one, just because I can. And I like to use my brayer tool. If you've never seen a brayer, it's like a little mini seam roller. I love these. It's because when your mat's getting gross and you need to clean it, or it's an inch away from death, it kind of makes it stick down onto the mat a little bit better and lets them last a little bit longer. Alrighty, so we're gonna hit OK. And we're gonna scan in our material. Do we have to do this? No, but is it a nice feature that we already have? Yes. So am I gonna use it? Absolutely. All right, there she is. Oh, now look, I was a little off. Select it, pull it on down, and she's good to go. Please select, cut, and start. There she goes. Now the great thing with half cut, she's going to only detect where half of that starts or stops, and she's only going to cut that out. She's not going to go all the way through, because we need that clear part to transfer it on over, because again, if she had cut all the way through on both of these, well then we're picking up individual little pieces and trying to line them up, and it's just a nightmare. It's so much easier with half cut. Again, the only thing we had to tell her, we didn't have to tell her if we were doing heat transfer vinyl or pressure. You're done already? She's like, Courtney, yeah, you talk a lot. We didn't have to tell her we were doing heat transfer or pressure sensitive. She already just knew to do a half cut. You know, if we told her half cut, and she was like, okay, let's do this. It doesn't matter which kind, what you're doing, or how you're doing, or what's the brand. She already detected how deep it was. Okay, so now same concept. How good is that? Oh, I love the ScanNCut. I love this machine. I love weeding glitter vinyl. I know some people don't. All right, so here we go. We're just weeding out the parts we don't want. You just pull them right off. Don't forget to pull the center. And I'm doing this in real time. How cute. So I'm thinking, I wish you guys were here in person because you could tell me. Should we do it at the top right here? All right, so I'm going to bring this over to my ironing board. We're going to put our name down where we want it. I love that it's see-through so I can see exactly. And I'm going to put a protective piece of cotton fabric, just plain cotton fabric, and go ahead and put my iron. Now, usually I do like to use my heat press, but our little stocking has that little ball on the hat, so that wouldn't really go well good in the heat press. So we're pushing down with even pressure, just, you know, moving around every once in a while. We don't want to do an actual ironing method. All right, and we're gonna peel off that clear part once we know that it's already heated up beautifully, and it did a great job. So I'm actually going to put our coloring book in there first. There you go. They're gonna love this. I hope. Alrighty, here we go. Scoot her on in. And this is really an inexpensive little thing to give. All right, and then that perfectly makes the little bitty hole to pop the colors in. How cute is that? And if you wanted to put a few little bits of candy, or I put gummies for the little kids, at the bottom, it would fill out the little toe more. How cute. So the next gift, I saw someone do something similar, but they were drawing it on there, and bless my heart, I cannot draw, but I can scan and cut like no one's business. So what they were doing was they were putting the whole name of someone on a glass candle. So they took all the labels off. Luckily, this one didn't have any labels except at the bottom, but there's no labels on here. It's just glass. So I'm going to use some really nice pressure sensitive vinyl in this nice metallic, gold metallic, and I'm going to put like a border with their initial and make it look just really nice and high end, and then wrap this up as a gift. So let's go ahead and let's get the design ready in our machine. Alrighty, so let's hit OK. We're going to come back home. We're going to go to pattern, and I'm actually going to start with my border. So I'm going to come here. So in here, it's like, this one is really, really cute. So I think we're going to go with this one. Okay. Now I know that my candle, I've measured it out, so I know that it's about 2 is the area that you're going to see in the width. And for the height, I have about a 4 to work with. This is one of those designs that I talked about that does not want you to resize it only in width or only in height, because it feels like it will be distorted. It wants to keep that shape. And I'll do this at a 3. That's fine. Actually, let's do That's perfect. All right, so let's hit okay. And you could put it on both sides instead of just one side. I do like the idea of having it on one side and that being the front, but 1000% up to you. All right, so it's on our mat now. It is pressure sensitive vinyl, so we do not need to flip. So let's go ahead and hit okay. Please select, and we want to cut. And again, we're using the blue low tack mat and the black auto blade. Alrighty, everything looks good. Half cut is on. Alright, so I'm just putting this whole piece of vinyl on this mat, even though I am only using a section of it. So I'm actually going to go back and select this and move it away from the edge, because what I want to do, please select, cut, is I want to come and tell it to put that weeding box around it. Wrench icon, scroll down one, weeding box on, because it needs to make sure that it has a bit around it to be able to do that box. So now that it's on there, it looks great. All right, hit the wrench icon, scroll down one, weeding box on. Okay, it looks great. And let's go ahead and load our mat. All right, everything looks great. Let's go ahead and hit start. Alrighty, now we can of course take that transfer tape that we had earlier. We can reuse it for this. And you know what I'm just realizing? That I forgot to put the initial in the middle of the design. So what I'm actually going to do is hit okay, and I'm actually going to go back and hit add, pattern, and I'm going to select that. Well, you know what, let's go down to our fonts. These are the ones I want, because these are the monogramming ones. So I'm going to select, let's see, the S, and hit set. And I'm going to edit, object edit, and I'm actually going to resize it with it in there so I could see exactly where to put it. Now I could of course come here and select all of them and then go to my tools that let me align things and tell it to align, and then that would perfectly align it. Okay, okay, looks good. I'm going to unselect everything. And I'm actually going to go down just a little. Beautiful. All right, hit okay. Okay again. Now, before we get anywhere, I am going to select edit, and I'm going to delete out the thing around it and only keep my S because I forgot to put it in there. Now, if you remember to put it in there before you cut, then you wouldn't have to do this. So we're going to hit okay. Okay again. Please select, cut, and start. I can't believe I forget to literally put the custom part of it. Like, yes, it would have been cute to have the design, but like, come on. The S, the actual initial, like, gives it a little something. And she's done. That's girl. All right, take her off my mat. That mat needs to be cleaned. Goodness. Alrighty, so now since we put that weeding box, the great thing is I can actually come to the corner of where it cut. So you see how all that's still there? And I can pull from there, and then that one, I should probably do it on the ground. That way, I don't have a bunch of little pieces of vinyl now. It's all nice one big sheet that I can still store like that, but it's 1000% up to you what you prefer. Get your hair out of it, Courtney. There we go. Alrighty, so we have it there. How cute is it? Looks very high-end if you ask me. Alright, so we're going to take our transfer tape, and I'm going to put it on the design. It's sticking to itself. There we go. Alrighty, spatula. Alrighty. And sometimes if you want to reverse weed, which means that you flip it over and go from the back, that's sometimes, oh, look how easy that was. So easy. Alright, there we go. So there's our design. We'll take our candle. I like to lay them down, figure out where you want the front to be. And we're just going to lay that. Again, it's so nice that transfer tape is clear. Alright, let's see. Okay. And commit. So the nice thing, if you're doing a curved design, what I want you to do is I want you to find the center, push down in the center, and then work your way out to one side, just pushing out so you can get all those bubbles out. And then I want you to go to the other side once you're done with that, and I want you to push out that side so you can get all the bubbles out. So we're doing like that. Now, once it's on there, how pretty with the metallic, but I think it came out good. And look at that. Now it looks like a really pretty, like, you know, expensive candle. And again, we could do it on this side if we wanted to, just cut out the same design. but how nice. Alrighty, so for our last project, this one's pretty cool. This is like my party trick that everyone loves to see, is when I burn wood with my ScanNCut. So I actually have this tray right here, super cute, with the little scalloped edges, and I'm actually going to put an initial and then their last name and then their established date of when they got married on this tray. And I'm going to use pressure sensitive vinyl to make a template to actually use what's called a torch pen, and I'll have them linked down below. So I'm gonna color that in with the torch pen after I've used the vinyl as a template, take the vinyl off, heat it up with a heat gun, and it's gonna burn it into the wood. So let's go ahead and let's create our design. Okay, so this is gonna be a very detailed design. So we're gonna go home, hit okay. We're gonna go to pattern, come here. Actually, I wanna go into these, so I'm gonna come here, and I'm going to select a, yep, there it is, an R. Okay, hit set. Right now I'm just laying things on there. I'll resize them all together. So I'm going to hit add, pattern, and I'm going to select here. And I'm going to get a font very similar where it's kind of scripty, but not that exact one. Now, of course, if you did want the fonts to match, then you could pick your fonts out of here instead of the applique fonts, or sorry, the monogram fonts. So I'm going to do their last name. Hit OK. Set. There you go. So now it would be like that, but the R is going to be way bigger. All right, but now we want to add their established date. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to select this font right here, established, and then the year. So we're going to hit the numbers and do 2020. Hit OK, set. Come here and put this underneath. Okay, now that we have all of our bits that we want to do, let's go ahead and we're going to actually use the center mark to be our center. All right, and so I want the R, edit, object edit, to be much bigger because it's kind of like the big moment of it all. Okay. Okay. Now my board, I know it's about 10 wide. So the mat is 12. So I know I got to keep it underneath the 10. Alrighty. And I could, of course, always map off this one where it only would show me that size if I wanted to do that. But I just know that it's too less. So, okay. Alrighty. So we're just going to pretend that we don't have those in ones. Alright, so that's perfect. I know that the width of my board is about 15, or no, about 14. So I've got way more than enough. I could actually do it bigger than this mat is. Unless I use a 12 by 24 mat. Alright, so I know I can make this a lot bigger. And just keep it within those areas. Okay. And then we put this over here at the bottom. How cute. Oh my goodness. That is adorable. That is adorable. Okay, now, Courtney, maybe it's not perfectly centered. Well, we do our little trick where we select everything, hit OK, come to Object Edit, and then we use these tools to align everything. See? Oh my God, now she's perfectly aligned. Perfectly. Now, I could make her bigger if I wanted to, but I think this is good. I want to leave a little space around the edges of this, so this looks great. I'm going to hit OK. Okay again. Oh my goodness, I love it. It's so cute. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, focus, Courtney. Hit OK. Okay again. Now we're using pressure sensitive vinyl, so we don't need to flip our design, and everything's ready to go. Alrighty, so I'm going to put her off to the side for now. I'm going to take my low tack mat, there we go, and put my vinyl on there. Get on the side. Go. Now, you're not going to see the vinyl on the final design. I mean, you could just take this design and have it be the vinyl on the board if you didn't want to do the torch pen or anything like that, and that would be adorable. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to load this into my machine. Here we go. There she goes. All right, everything looks good. Everything's ready. I actually know where my stylus is. Start. All right, so what she's going to do is she's now going to cut out our template for us that we're going to be able to add onto our board. And while she's cutting that out, of course, I want to do our membership spotlight. Maria Soto, you are our membership spotlight today. Thank you so much for being a member, Maria. And also, I want to say hello to Valencia and Melissa from the Lafayette location. They very kindly said hello to me the other day. They had the store manager give me a call and FaceTime, so I got to talk to them for a second. So it was great to meet you guys. Hello, I hope you guys had a good time in the Lafayette AllBrands, and thank you so much for coming in. And of course, watching the videos. Thank you. Now, that does not mean ask all the store managers to FaceTime me. Just realized that for a second there. That was really sweet. They got me out of a meeting, so I was not sad about that. And I did announce this slyly on the last show because they had just given me clearance to announce it, so I was very excited. But I do want to formally, of course, announce, oh, she's done, that AllBrands Academy, which is a new show that we're doing, that we're traveling around with, will be going to Lafayette on the 23rd and 24th. And then in Bossier, the first week of May, which is the 1st and the 2nd. So AllBrands Academy is coming to Lafayette and to Bossier City AllBrands. I will be there as an educator. We'll also be having, of course, Barbara Douthat and Becky Thompson and a bunch of other educators. So very, very excited for those locations. Those pages are up on our website, and of course, I'll have them linked down below. All right, so she's done. So I'm actually going to take her off my mat. Alrighty, so now this is what it wants to roll up, so I'm actually going to do this. You know what? Use the last project. So I'm actually going to do what we usually don't do. So I'm going to take away the words because I wanted just the outlines of everything. So if you had a weeding tool, this would be a great time to grab it. Do I know where mine is? Never. Now, if you were really careful, yes, you could probably still use the letters in here, but I'm not going to use them for anything. So I'm just going to start weeding them out. Cool. Now, Courtney, the vinyl color looks like it changed a little. Yeah, well, that's because my brother called me and had me thinking that I got their date wrong, that they got married. So I remade it. Lesson learned, guys. Lesson learned. There we go. All right, so we've weeded everything out. Now it's time to transfer it onto our board. Ooh, learn from my mistake. I had it very close to the top, and there's a little section that there's not any vinyl. So I might take some extra vinyl and just stick it there, or just be really careful when I'm drawing it on. All right, so, let's get a big piece of transfer tape, because it's going to be biggie. Now, if you wanted to be super careful and put it on the board, and like, be really careful when you're doing it. Oh, you know what? I could put it this way on the board. I had planned to put it this way on the board. I think I might flip it and put it this way on the board. I might do that. Which means I might just cut off this bottom piece that I don't need. Save vinyl, one. But two, I could fit it in there better. Like that. I think that might be what we do. I think that might be. Tell me, would you have done it sideways or vertically? I had planned to do vertically. Now I'm like, why would I do that? It looks so good sideways. All right, so let's take our transfer tape. Now, if you wanted to be really careful, you could just peel it off and then slowly peel it back. But just to be on the safe side, I'm going to use transfer tape. So I'm actually going to cut this piece off. Stick this with all my other pieces so I can get a full sheet of it. All right. Well, let's see. I'm going to need this much. Okay. Alrighty. So we have our design all weeded out. Let's take our transfer tape. I like to work in sections when it's something this big. So I'm going to come here. Oops, you can't even see it. And I'm going to lay it down like this. And then I'm going to pull. And then lay it down you know, as I go. Pull it up if I need to. There we go. Keep this because it is reusable. There she goes. All right. If you had a big scraper, and I'll pop it on screen what they look like, it makes it so much easier, honestly. I love that thing. I think I left mine at home. All right. You really want to make sure you're going over the letter parts because you have all those little innards, and it's a delicate font, so I want to make sure that it switches over. Okay, there we go. So we're going to take our board and we're going to take our design, or we'll take our design off of here. And actually, I didn't line it up very well. So I'm going to come from this direction. See? Not really worried about the outer parts, it's really the words. And I'm going to reverse weed because it's just easier than having something sticky just flying in the air. Like, no, this is so much easier. Oh, there, I'm getting stuck to it. Okay, I'm just going to go in sections and gently pull our design off. And just watch it the whole time and make sure if there's anything that should not be coming off or should be coming off, and it's not, that you're going slow with it because you don't want to rip your design. There we go. Oh, it looks so good. It looks so good. Oops, see? There we go. All right, done with that part. It's stuck to my hand. There we go. All right, so she's on here now. I love this. All right, now we're going to very carefully find the center. Remember, you can fold your design if you want to do that. Don't crease, but figure out where that center is, and then put that center to the center of your design, like that. Like that. Okay, and commit. She has commitment issues. No, just kidding. All right, so we're laying her in there. Again, we're going to take our spatula, pull her like this so you can see. I'm just going to go around. Again, when you have that big scraper, it makes it so much easier. Oh, I wish I had mine. Okay. So now, our vinyl is on there. We're going to pull off that transfer tape. Go slow, make sure everything stayed on. So far it looks like it did. Oh, there we go. There she goes. Oh, there we go. It's reusable, so we're going to put it back on the backing. There we go. Alright, deal with that later. Here we go. Okay. It's on. Alright, so I am going to go around with my spatula and just kind of go over again because I don't want any bleeding whenever I do use that torch pen. I want to make sure that it's pretty good sealed in there. Now, when you are using the torch pen, you can go very carefully around the edges, but I think, honestly, when it's a big design, I get a little impatient, and I do not, I color outside the lines, okay? We're going to call it what it is. I color outside the lines, so I want you to be very good about making sure that that vinyl is on there. So, make sure those edges are sealed in. All right. I think I'm good. All right, so this is a torch pen. Again, I'll have it linked down below. It's called a Scorch Marker Pro. So we're going to shake it. So you have two sides. You have this nub side, and then you have this side that you actually unscrew, and it has this. I kind of like them both. It depends on what I'm in the mood for that day. If it's very detailed, then I'll do that side. If it's not very detailed and it's a larger area, I will do this. Now, something I do want to recommend is that you do take a piece of paper or something and you start the markers, which means that you're just going to press down on the marker a few times to get that ink flowing. On the other side of the precision side, foam brush, you don't really have to do that, but on the little nub part, I highly recommend it. So I'm just taking back of this vinyl and I'm just going to push down on it. Now, you should be wearing gloves and protective gear because this thing makes me very nervous, but am I impatient? Yes. So do as I say, not as I do. Alrighty, so I pushed down enough where it started coming out some ink. So now what we're going to do is we're going to color. I'm going to be really, really careful going around the edges, my design. And I know it looks weird because you're like, Courtney, it's paint. I know, it is pink, but that's how you know where to put it. But when you heat it up, that pink fades and then it's dark. Now, if you don't heat up your design enough, in my opinion, then you kind of still see that pink, which I don't really love. So I would recommend actually putting the heat gun on there for a while to get rid of all this pink. I feel like it's not doing as much, you can just restart it. Now, something I do want to highly recommend is when you are doing this piece of wood was very raw. It didn't really have any coating on it or any sealer. If you have a piece of wood that has a piece, like some sealer, like it's got a bit of a shine to it where they might have sealed it, I would highly recommend to give it a light sand, because this torch pen needs to penetrate wood. So if it's got a clear coat on it, well, then it's not going to pierce the wood as much as it should, and it's not going to give you a great burn. So make sure that your, whatever it is that you are using, it doesn't have a finishing coat on it, or if it does, you have given it a very light sand. Alrighty, whew. I've been coloring away. It's forbidden crayon. Alright, so I've got all my letters done. I did mess up on the top, so when I do take the vinyl off, I'm going to have to be careful and fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the edge of my vinyl, and I'm actually going to pull it off. Be careful, because if you did get some of the edges of your vinyl, there could be ink on them. So I'm just going to pulling away. Oh my goodness. Alright, throw that piece away. Oh, it looks so good. Okay. There we go. For these words, just because I do see some ink on the vinyl, I am going to use some tweezers to get the vinyl off, so I'm not actually touching it with my fingers. Oof, I'm noticing a little bleeding on that marker, which is not terrible, but it makes me say that. Okay, there we go. And honestly, if you wanted to do this with like a paint marker or just paint in general, you could do that and you wouldn't even have to burn it. But I really want to use a heat gun, so that's what I'm doing. All right, there she goes. How cute. Now I did mess up the top of this, so I am gonna like freehand trying to fix that. That was me being not cautious. There we go. Okay, I think that'll fix it. Okay, added like more swoop to the top. You'll never know. They'll never know that I did that. Okay, I am going to a little bit. Now, the thing I've noticed with the little nub part is, yeah, it gives you a lot of ink, but it's not controlled ink. Which the nib on the other side, it does give you controlled ink. So it's up to you which one you would prefer to use. But I was just using this to like get down some ink if I felt like the nib was kind of running out and like pressing it wasn't really doing it. Then I would use that other side, but I was kind of staying away from it because it made me a tad bit nervous. Beautiful. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Now, I did make sure that it was like darkly put on there because I want a good burn. And if you don't put a good bit of, I feel like it's gasoline, to be honest, in a pen, then it's not going to give you a burn. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go, not in my craft room, we're going to probably go outside or to the warehouse, hook up the torch gun, the heat gun, and I'm going, not torch, heat gun. There is a difference between a torch gun and a heat gun. We are using a heat gun. Now, if you wanted to use a blow dryer, that wouldn't really work because you need some concentrated heat where it just doesn't get hot enough. So that not torch gun, heat gun. The heat gun is going to give you that. And we're going to slowly go back and forth over this. If you leave it in one spot for too long, it's going to burn things that you don't want it to burn. So we're going to evenly go back and forth over the design until we get the desired look that we like. So I let my heat gun heat up a little bit before I started, and I'm evenly going around. Now I'm not actually touching the heat gun to the board. I'm keeping a good little bit of distance between it because I don't want to overheat an area and accidentally burn something I don't want to. So we're going to evenly go back and forth. And I've noticed that wood that might be higher quality gives you a better burn than lower quality wood, but both of them will burn. So you try out either one of them. So we go back and forth, and you're going to burn until you no longer see any pink, and it's the desired, dark color that you prefer. I like it pretty dark. So evenly back and forth, and you can see it starting to get really dark for me. And make sure you're doing this in a well-ventilated area. Oh my goodness. How cute did this come out? I love this. So I noticed the torch pen, it did kind of bleed right here, and I don't like the brush side of the pen that I was using. I like the nib part. So I'm going to put down below a pen that I prefer that only has the nib part because I think it works better. So that way you guys don't have to deal with that. So I'll put one that I recommend down below. But this was so easy. Oh, I can't wait to see their face when they open this. And I keep picturing with a candle, on their coffee table, with a little candle and then a remote or whatever they have on their coffee table on it so you can still see it, but then it's useful, collects things, and it did not cost me, this tray did not cost me much. And I think I am going to seal it with a clear coat just to finish it off. You could even stain it. I mean, it's wood, and this is so dark, I think you'd be able to still see it even with a light stain on it. How cute. Now I would burn before you stain. I wouldn't stain first. If you were gonna stain it, I would burn it first and then stain, because we want to make sure that torch pen, really sinks into that wood. So this one did beautiful. Look at that. It's crisp. It's beautiful. I love this. So cute. And then of course our adorable little stocking that we did with his little name, and then the little crayon pencil box that we did. It's upside down. Crayon pencil box. I think I'm gonna do these for all my kids, and then put their little, they always get more craft supplies for Christmas, so put that in there. That's such an easy little stocking stuffer that you could do. And then of course our cute little candle. She just looks high-end. You can't tell me she doesn't look high-end. With the metallic, with even a glitter. I love it. So tell me down below which one's your favorite. This one's tried and true. This one is amazing. So I don't know, I love them all. So guys, don't forget that the Brother ScanNCut is available on our website, allbrands.com, and as well as tons of other products. And when you do shop with us, not only are you helping us continue this free education that we do, but you're also supporting a local mom and pop. So we truly appreciate that. So from my family to you, Merry Christmas. Thank you again so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe because it lets us know that you want more of these videos. And y'all have a good night. Merry Christmas.